The fluorescent lights hummed overhead like dying wasps. Maya stood at the entrance of Preston's marketplace, her sneakers worn so thin she could feel every crack in the sidewalk. 21 years old and already exhausted in a way that sleep couldn't fix. She'd just finished an 8-hour shift cleaning offices downtown, scrubbing toilets for people who never looked her in the eye. Now she had 30 minutes to grab groceries before her next shift started at the diner across town. She pushed through the automatic doors, the cool air hitting her face like a slap. Her shopping list was mental and depressing. Bread, the cheapest kind. Rice, maybe some eggs if they were on sale. Her mother's medication cost $300 this month, and the insurance company had denied the claim again. Maya had exactly $47 in her checking account and 6 days until payday. That's when she heard the laughter, not the good kind. The cruel kind that makes your stomach turn. A group of teenage boys clustered near the produce section, phones out, filming something. Their voices carried across the store like broken glass. Yo, Grandpa can't tell an apple from an orange. This is comedy gold, bro. Watch, watch, he's gonna grab the wrong thing again. Maya moved closer, her exhaustion momentarily forgotten. An elderly black man stood frozen in front of the fruit display. He wore thick glasses that magnified his eyes to an almost cartoonish degree, and his hands trembled as they hovered over the bins. His cardigan had a small hole near the pocket. His shoes were old but carefully maintained. He looked like someone who'd once had dignity and was fighting desperately to hold on to what remained. "Sir, do you need help?" one of the boys asked in a mocking baby voice. The others erupted in laughter. "Can Grandpa not see? Is Grandpa lost?" The old man's face crumpled. "I just need oranges," he said quietly. "For my granddaughter. She's sick, and she asked for fresh orange juice." "Well, those are grapefruits, Einstein," another boy said, pointing at the fruit in the old man's hand. More laughter, more phones recording. One of them was already typing. "This is going straight to TikTok." Something hot and sharp twisted in Maya's chest. She knew that feeling. She'd felt it every time a customer at the diner snapped their fingers at her like she was a dog. Every time her high school guidance counselor told her to be realistic about her college dreams. Every time someone looked through her instead of at her, invisible. That's what the world wanted people like them to be. "Back up," Maya said, stepping between the boys and the old man. Her voice came out harder than she intended. "Right now." The tallest boy, wearing a backwards cap and a smirk that needed to be slapped off his face, turned to her. "Who are you, his bodyguard?" "I'm someone who's not going to stand here and watch you humiliate an elderly man for internet points. Delete the videos and leave." "Or what?" He stepped closer, trying to use his height to intimidate her. Maya had been intimidated by worse. Eviction notices, medical bills. The look in her mother's eyes when she couldn't afford her medication. Some teenager with a phone didn't even register. "Or I call the manager and tell him you're harassing customers. Then I post my own video about how Preston's lets kids bully the elderly. See how fast your little show gets shut down." The boy's smirk faltered. One of his friends tugged his sleeve. "Come on, man, this is boring anyway." They shuffled off, muttering under their breath. But Maya noticed 2 of them didn't delete their videos. She'd deal with that later. She turned to the old man. He was blinking rapidly behind his thick glasses, his hands still shaking. "Thank you," he whispered. "You didn't have to do that." "Yeah, I did." Maya looked at the fruit in his hand. "Those are grapefruits. Oranges are over here. May I?" He nodded, relief flooding his face. Maya guided him to the correct bin. She picked up an orange, held it to his nose. "Smell that. Sweet, bright. That's how you know grapefruit smells sharper, more bitter." She placed 3 perfect oranges in his basket. "These are good. Ripe, but not too soft." The old man's eyes filled with tears. "My granddaughter, Zoe, she's 7. Leukemia, She hasn't wanted to eat in days, but this morning she asked for fresh orange juice. I had to get it right. Maya's throat tightened. You'll get it right. These are perfect. They walked through the store together. Maya helped him find honey, which he said Zoe liked in her juice. She checked expiration dates, described the products, treated him with the dignity those boys had tried to strip away. When they reached the checkout, the old man fumbled with his wallet, pulling out cash with trembling fingers. "Thank you," he said again, as the cashier bagged his items. "I'm Samuel, by the way. Samuel Price." Maya Johnson. She helped him gather his bags. "Do you need help getting to your car?" "My driver's outside." He paused, studying her face with those magnified eyes. "You have a kind soul, Maya Johnson. The world needs more people like you." She shrugged, uncomfortable with praise. "I just did what anyone should do, but most people don't." He reached into his pocket, pulled out a business card. "Plain white, expensive looking. If you ever need anything, call this number. I mean it." Maya took the card to be polite, barely glancing at it before shoving it in her pocket. She was already late for her shift at the diner. "Take care of yourself, Mr. Price, and give Zoe a hug for me." She grabbed her meager groceries and rushed out, her mind already on the next job, the next bill, the next impossible thing she had to figure out how to survive. She didn't see Samuel Price watch her go, didn't see him pull out his phone and make a call. "Marcus, it's me. Kay, I need you to find out everything you can about someone. Her name is Maya Johnson." 3 days later, Maya's life exploded. It started at the diner. She was refilling coffee for the breakfast crowd when her coworker Tasha grabbed her arm, her eyes wide. "Girl, have you seen what's online?" "I don't have time for. It's about you." Tasha shoved her phone in Maya's face. The video had 20 million views. 20 million. It showed everything. Her confronting the boys, helping Samuel, the gentleness in her voice as she described the oranges. The caption read, "This girl stood up for a blind old man when everyone else just watched. Who is she?" Maya's stomach dropped. No. No, no. The comments were a war zone. Some people calling her a hero, others saying it was staged. Conspiracy theories about her motivations. Someone had already found her Facebook, her address, her mother's name. Her entire life was being dissected by strangers. Then her phone rang. Unknown number. Is this Maya Johnson? A professional woman's voice, crisp and efficient. Who's asking? "My name is Patricia Chen. I'm calling on behalf of Samuel Price. Mr. Price would like to meet with you today if possible. He has a car waiting outside your workplace." Maya's hand tightened on the phone. "I don't understand. Please, Miss Johnson, it's important. Mr. Price wants to thank you properly." The black Mercedes was impossible to miss. Maya approached it like it might explode, her heart hammering. The back window rolled down, revealing Samuel's familiar face. But everything else was different. He sat in a car that probably cost more than her mother's house. His cardigan was gone, replaced by a tailored suit. A younger woman in business attire sat beside him, tablet in hand. "Maya," Samuel said warmly, "please, get in. We have much to discuss. Mr. Price, I don't. I haven't been entirely honest with you." His voice was gentle but firm. "Please." Maya got in because something in his tone said this mattered. The car smelled like leather and expensive cologne. She felt desperately out of place in her diner uniform, her hands still smelling like dish soap and bacon grease. Samuel turned to her, those magnified eyes somehow sharper now. "Maya, do you know who I am?" "You're Samuel Price. You needed help buying oranges." "I'm also the founder and CEO of Price Technologies. Perhaps you've heard of us. We develop accessibility software for the visually impaired. My company is valued at $8 billion. The world tilted sideways. "The glasses I wore that day," Samuel continued, "they're a prototype. advanced technology that should help me see better. But they malfunctioned. I was essentially blind, trying to buy fruit for my granddaughter, and those boys saw an opportunity to mock someone they perceived as weak. Maya's mouth went dry. Why didn't you tell me? Because for the first time in 20 years, someone treated me like a human being instead of a bank account. His voice cracked slightly. Do you know what it's like to be surrounded by people every day and still feel invisible? To wonder if anyone would help you if you weren't Samuel Price, billionaire? If you were just Samuel, a scared old man trying to buy oranges for his sick granddaughter. Yes, Maya whispered. I know exactly what that feels like. Samuel smiled sadly. I thought you might. That's why I had Marcus research you. Single mother with stage 4 cancer. You work 3 jobs to pay for her treatment. You were accepted to Johns Hopkins pre-med program, but couldn't afford to go. You volunteer at a soup kitchen every Sunday, despite being exhausted. You give away half your tips to the homeless man who sits outside your diner. Maya felt violated and seen at the same time. You had no right. You're correct, and I apologize. But I needed to know if my instinct was right. If the kindness you showed me was genuine or performance. He leaned forward. It was genuine. You helped me because you couldn't walk away. Because you understand what it means to be underestimated, overlooked, invisible. What do you want from me? Nothing, Samuel said firmly. I want to give you something. Your mother's medical bills, all of them, paid in full. A full scholarship to Johns Hopkins, including living expenses. And a position at Price Technologies when you graduate, if you want it. Maya couldn't breathe. That's not possible. It's already done. The payments have been processed. The scholarship has been established in your name. All you have to do is accept. She was shaking now, tears streaming down her face. Why? Why would you do this? Samuel reached across and took her hand. His grip was surprisingly strong. Because kindness should be rewarded, not punished. Because the world tried to make both of us invisible, and I'll be damned if I let that continue. Because my granddaughter is alive today because of experimental treatment I could afford, and your mother deserves the same chance. I don't know what to say. Say you'll accept. Say you'll stop killing yourself with 3 jobs and go to medical school. Say you'll prove everyone wrong who told you to be realistic. His voice intensified. Say you'll stop being invisible and start being everything you were meant to be. Maya sobbed openly now, not caring that this stranger and his assistant were watching. Thank you, she choked out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No, Maya, thank you. You saved me that day in ways you'll never understand. 6 months later, Maya stood in her mother's hospital room. The cancer was in remission. The doctor said the new treatment had worked miracles. Her mother, who'd been gray and fading, now had color in her cheeks. She was arguing with the nurse about the food quality, which meant she was feeling better. Baby girl, her mother said, squeezing her hand. Did you finish packing for school? Almost. Maya adjusted the blanket around her mother's legs. I leave next week. Johns Hopkins. Her mother's eyes shone with pride and disbelief. The doctor. Not yet, Mama. I have 4 years of hell ahead of me first. You'll survive it. You've survived everything else. Her mother's grip tightened. That man, Mr. Price. You need to thank him properly. I've tried. He won't accept anything. Says the only thanks he wants is for me to succeed. Then succeed. Become the best doctor you can be. Help people the way he helped us. That's how you thank him. Maya's phone buzzed. A text from Samuel. Lunch tomorrow. I'd like to introduce you to someone. She replied immediately. I'll be there. The restaurant was the kind of place where Maya used to work, not eat. Samuel was already seated, but he wasn't alone. A younger man, maybe 35, sat across from him. His son, based on the facial resemblance. Both men stood when she approached. Maya, this is my son, David. David, this is the young woman I've told you about. David shook her hand, his grip firm. "It's an honor. My father hasn't stopped talking about you." They sat. Small talk was made. Then Samuel said, "I have a proposition. I'm launching a new initiative at Price Technologies, the Invisible Initiative. We're going to identify and support young people like you. People with talent, drive, and potential who are being crushed by circumstance. We need someone to run it." Maya blinked. "Run it. Part-time, during your breaks from school. Full-time after graduation, if you want. You'd identify candidates, work with our team to create support packages, be the face of the program." Samuel leaned forward. "Who better to find the invisible than someone who's been there? I'm starting medical school in a week, and this work would inform your medical practice. Understanding systemic barriers, resource limitations, the intersection of poverty and health." His eyes gleamed. "Unless you're not interested." Maya looked between Samuel and David, saw the genuine hope in their faces, thought about all the other Mayas out there, killing themselves with 3 jobs, watching their dreams die because the world had decided they didn't matter. "When do I start?" 5 years later, Maya stood in front of 400 people at the Price Technologies annual conference. She wore a white coat now, Dr. Maya Johnson embroidered over the pocket. She'd graduated Johns Hopkins at the top of her class. The Invisible Initiative had supported over 2,000 young people. Her mother's cancer remained in remission. Samuel sat in the front row, now 82 and frailer than ever. But his eyes, still magnified behind those thick glasses, watched her with unmistakable pride. 5 years ago, Maya said into the microphone, her voice steady despite the crowd, "I was nobody. I worked 3 jobs. I was exhausted, broke, and invisible. Then I met a man in a grocery store who was being humiliated, and I couldn't walk away. That choice changed everything." She paused, looking directly at Samuel. But the real change wasn't the money or the scholarship. It was being seen. Being treated like I mattered. Being given a chance to prove that kindness and talent aren't luxuries only the wealthy can afford. Her voice strengthened. The Invisible Initiative exists because Samuel Price understands something most people don't. The world is full of invisible people. People with genius minds and kind hearts who are drowning in circumstances beyond their control. Our job is to see them, to lift them. To prove that where you start doesn't determine where you finish. The crowd erupted in applause. Maya stepped down from the stage and walked directly to Samuel. He stood slowly, leaning on his cane, and she wrapped him in a hug. "Thank you," she whispered, "for seeing me when I couldn't see myself." "Thank you," he whispered back, "for reminding me why kindness matters. For showing me that humanity still exists in unexpected places." They stood there, 2 people from different worlds, bound by a moment in a grocery store when one person refused to look away. The cameras flashed. The crowd applauded. But in that moment, Maya and Samuel were back in front of those orange bins, 2 invisible people seeing each other clearly for the first time. "We changed each other's lives," Samuel said finally, pulling back to look at her. "No," Maya corrected gently. "We saved each other. There's a difference." Samuel smiled, his eyes bright with tears behind those thick glasses. "Yes, yes, there is." The next morning, Maya received a package at her new clinic, the one she'd opened in her old neighborhood. Inside was a framed photo. Her and Samuel in the grocery store that day, captured by one of those teenagers' phones before she'd intervened. Below it, a note in Samuel's shaky handwriting. This is where everything changed, where 2 invisible people finally saw each other. Never forget where you came from. Never stop seeing others. With love and gratitude, Samuel. Maya hung it on the wall behind her desk where every patient could see it. A reminder that kindness costs nothing but changes everything. That being seen is the first step to being saved. That invisible people are just waiting for someone brave enough to look.